Jules, we good? Okay. So, Chris. All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the regularly scheduled Evans City Council meeting for Tuesday, January 7, 2025. My name is Mark Clark. I'm the mayor. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Clark.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Pletka.
Here.
Councilmember Johnson.
Present.
Councilmember Neal.
Present.
Councilmember Crabtree.
Here.
Councilmember Delaney.
Present.
Councilmember Fair.
Here.
All right, next time on our agenda is the proclamation for the Acts of Connection Month. I'll go ahead and read that proclamation. Whereas human beings are biologically wired for connection, with social connections functioning as fundamental human needs, which is as essential to our survival as food, water, and shelter. And whereas the U.S. Surgeon General's report states that current rates of loneliness and isolation have profound threats to our health, being more widespread, more than many other major health issues, including smoking, diabetes, and obesity. And whereas approximately half of the U.S. adult reports experiencing loneliness, yet less than 20% who often or always feel lonely recognize it as a major problem. And whereas the highest rates of risk impact young people, aging adults, underrepresented racial groups, people with lower incomes, and those with chronic disease and disabilities. And whereas understanding the factors that contribute to loneliness and social isolations and their profound threats they present to our health and well-being, and taking inventory of the cultural, community, and social dynamics that drive connection and disconnection as needed as now more than ever. And whereas creating healed communities that are healthier and happier require actions which start by reflecting on how we can shape, build, and strengthen our institutions, cultures, and interactions to support the development of healthy relationships. And whereas Acts of Connections, a public health initiative of Thriving World, aims to create awareness of the health risk of loneliness and isolation, educate the public on the importance of social connections, create urgencies of actions to change our trajectory, and connect people to local resources and information that bolster healthy social connections. And whereas the Acts of Connection Month is observed this January to raise awareness about the importance of social connections and the factors that contribute to loneliness and social isolation. Now, therefore, it be resolved that I, Mark Clark, Mayor of Evans, do hereby proclaim January 2025 as Acts of Connection Month in the City of Evans and call upon the government agencies, public and private institutions, businesses, and schools to initiate acts of connection by embedding social connections in policies and programs and creating spaces and events that promote connections. Additionally, we call upon citizens to foster a culture of connection that wraps around our neighborhoods, friends, and loved ones by seeking out opportunities to serve others, participating in community groups, nurturing relationships above all, and showing empathy and compassion for one another. And witness, therefore, I here on to set my hand and cause the official seal of City of Evans, the 7th day of January 2025. And I think there's somebody here to accept the proclamation. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Mayor Clark and Council. My name is Elena Rosenfeld, High Plains Library District, and a member of the Healthy Mind and Spirit Group of Thriving Weld.
And I'm Margie Martinez, still with United Way as today, maybe not next week, but because I gave him my notice, but Margie Martinez with United Way.
And the big thing is humans do thrive with connection. And we want people to thrive, not just survive. There's a thought that social isolation and loneliness became a really big thing during COVID. And while it heightened it, actually since 2020, before COVID, we were already seeing a great increase in people who were lonely, who are not connecting, and just don't understand that there is an issue and that it really is critical for us to find those connections and be together. This is an effort to say everybody is able to connect by saying hello, checking in on a neighbor, going to a program, being here at council. So thank you for all your work and encouraging people to connect. And for this moment for me to connect with you. I'll leave
Great.
it at that.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
you.
All right, next item on the agenda, audience participation. Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to address City Council on any item that is not on the agenda or of a public hearing? If so, please step forward to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, everybody.
Evening.
My name is Joe Kuntz, and I'm president and owner of Mountain Constructors. And we put a bid in for the Junction project, which I know that you're going to have an emergency meeting or whatever next Monday to determine who to award the contract to. I've been a business here in Evans for over 25 years. We have a shopping yard down there. We were not the low bidder. We were $5,500 higher than the apparent low bidder on there. And I just wanted to present myself that there's a name and a face to a local contractor, and I have cards here that I'll give you if you have any questions, anything that answers that you would need. Why I would be more than be available to answer any questions.
Great. All right. Thank you. If you would, for the cards, if you would just leave them up there at the desk there, and they'll be able to distribute them out to us as well.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right, next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda?
No, Mayor.
All right, I would entertain motions.
I move to approve.
No, we do it.
Kidding.
All right, so we have a motion and a second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Okay, we'll go ahead and vote.
Brenda and Allie, you guys cannot, are you still having issues?
Yes.
Yep,
Okay, are you in favor or against?
In favor.
favor.
All right, and that motion passes. All right. And just for let everybody in the audience know, or anybody that's watching online, if you're not hearing us make a motion in a second, we have this new software that we're using that will actually display it on the board where you can see how each of us have voted, who made the motion, who made the second. It's a little bit more way to make the process and the council meetings a little bit more streamlined. So, all right, next item on the agenda is consent agenda, item number 7A, approval of the December 17th, 2024 City Council meeting minutes. Item 7B, consideration of ordinance number 836-25, a change of zone from I-2 to R3 located at 3705 Carson Avenue, second reading. And I would entertain a motion. All right.
Can I, permission to speak?
Sure.
I recuse myself since I wasn't here at the last meeting, since the second reading, or would that matter? Because it's,
That's fine. You can go ahead and recuse yourself. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. All right. I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All right, so we'll go ahead and vote.
oh wait, I can't vote.
Brad, are you in favor or against?
I was absent from the last
Wait.
meeting.
So So you'll abstain as well?
All right, and that motion passes. All right, next item, new business. Item 8A, appointment of an interim city attorney. As we, I can go ahead and take that, or you want to, okay. And as we know that Scott Krob has put in his resignation to the city council to resign as the city attorney effective today. So this would be an appointment to appoint Deputy City Attorney Drew Lyman in the role as interim city attorney effective immediately. So if anybody has any questions on that, if not,
I do.
so
Permission to speak.
yes, go ahead.
So have we, granted I wasn't here last time, so I'm not sure if any of these particulars were discussed, but what effective immediately did we discuss, like what the pay rate will be, what the logistics for the interim component will look like?
Drew and I are having a meeting on Thursday afternoon to discuss a contract proposal, but right now he'll remain at his current salary until we come up with a contract proposal to appoint him as the actual city attorney.
Okay,
Yep, so,
thank you.
yep. All right. If there's no other questions, I will entertain a motion. All right, I have a motion and a second to appoint Deputy City Attorney Drew Lyman to the role of interim city attorney effective immediately, and we'll go ahead and vote.
Ally? Fred?
All right, and that motion passes. All right. Next item, 8B, consideration of approval of Citizen Serve software expansion project related to discontinuance of safe-built permitting and inspection services, and we'll hear from staff.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Chris Bragg, IT Director. So as you may already know, with Council's approval to hire 2 new building inspector positions this year and bring this vital function back in-house and discontinue use of Safe-Built's inspection services, we will lose access to Safe-Built's permitting and inspection software application, requiring the city to implement a replacement solution as quickly as possible. Previously, the city used a software platform called Citizen Serve to manage many of its community development-related processes. However, in 2020, Safe-Built developed and released their own proprietary software platform called Community Core, which required their customers to use that software for management of any permitting and inspection services that they were involved with. City staff at that time, worked with Safe-Built to import our data from the Citizen Serve platform into their new Community Core software. And for the past 4 years, Evans has been managing all of its building and inspection processes within that system. Currently, the only piece of Citizen Serve still in use by the city and paid for out of the IT budget is its code enforcement module and the 3 end-user licenses that are used by neighborhood services staff at an annual cost of $7,200. The cost of us re-engaging with Citizen Serve and expanding our building, permitting, inspection, and business licensing processes within that system is not insignificant, but it is necessary to ensure that our community development staff can properly manage, document, and track their work. Ideally, the city will at some future time invest in a complete enterprise resource planning solution, that's an ERP platform, that can provide unified and citywide management and control capabilities. However, the cost of such a platform has historically been prohibitive and is unlikely to be realized over the next several budget cycles. Until such a commitment can be made toward deployment of a citywide resource management platform, expanding our usage of the Citizen Serve platform is recommended over going to RFP and significantly delaying any ability for our internal permitting, inspection, and business licensing services to begin. So the 2 quotes included in your packet break down the cost of this Citizen Serve expansion from end-user licensing to implementation, data migration and training, and integration with several other software platforms that the city currently uses. In total, we anticipate this expansion project to cost $64,000 for fiscal year 2025, with future licensing and maintenance costs for 2026 and beyond costing us $36,000 per year. The 2025 supplies and services budget for the Community Development Department was increased by $50,000 to assist with software costs for in-house building inspection services. Any additional funding necessary in 2025 for this purpose will be identified in savings of other programs or general fund departments. Staff is seeking council's approval to move forward with this Citizen Serve expansion that will serve all personnel involved with our permitting, inspections, and business licensing workflow processes for the foreseeable future. With that, I'll answer any questions you may have.
Great, thank you. Anybody has any questions, please use your little icon there, or don't have one, just let us know.
I have one question.
Use your little thingamajig.
You did.
Oh, he did. Oh, okay, go ahead, Kyle.
Okay.
I knew
I
that
forget
you
it
would.
pops up there. Yeah.
It's all good.
Yes, sir.
Did we get a quote from Community Core to continue use of their software for just like 1 year?
To my knowledge, and I think that Mr. Wasaki would be able to speak better to that. I don't think that that is an option for us. He had some initial conversations with Community Core, but our sense of it is that it is not an option for us once we terminate relationship with Safe Build.
Okay, gotcha. I was just asking because if we're bringing on a new building official, they may know of a software they would prefer to use or something different. And just the implementation costs of this, we would be, if we did spend those implementation costs now and a new building official and city manager decide a different system would work better in like a year, we would be out, that $30,000.
Yeah, there are some unknowns in this still. One is whether we can maintain that relationship after terminating services with them. But even if we could, the other unknown is the cost of right now, we don't pay anything to use their software. We don't know what that cost would be in the future.
Indirectly, we pay for it through their.
Well, sure.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else? Any questions?
No, I think this software integrates with what we're currently using for code enforcement, so it makes sense to me to do the add-on to the package for the interim. And if we need to go in the future and go out for bid and check out other systems, then we can do that.
It is important, I think, to look at this. I don't want to say Band-Aid, but it is a temporary solution, I think, that we're looking at. At some point in the future, we'd like to investigate a full system that would be used citywide. And for clarity, this system does have our previous structure up to 2020 already built into it, which the vendor seems to think will cut down significantly on our deployment time. Had that not been the case, we might have been looking at 8 or 9 months to turn something up. In this case, they're saying it could be 3 or 4. So there is still a gap from potentially when we hire these 2 new inspectors to where they'll have software to use, but that gap is a lot smaller if we go with this option.
All right, any additional questions or comments? All right, if none, I would entertain a motion.
Entertain a button.
All right, I have a motion and a second to approve the Citizens Serve order forms as presented and to allow city staff to re-engage with Citizens Serve and expand permitting, inspection, and business licensing capabilities as needed to support bringing these vital services back in-house after discontinuing the use of safe-built services and proprietary software. And go ahead and vote. All right, that motion passes. All right. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. All right, next item on the agenda, report, city manager.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, just a couple things for you. Just a reminder that next Monday we do have our special meeting to review the construction bids, but also the construction manager proposals for the Evans Junction project. So that'll start, I believe, at 6 o'clock is when that is scheduled for next Monday night. Staff is working on all the paperwork right now. verifying everything, and then we'll get that agenda packet out to you. Next Wednesday, I believe the 15th, we'll have our first Parks and Recreation Advisory Board meeting. So if you guys recall, towards the end of last year, you guys created the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. Now that we're through the holidays, we're going to bring that board together to start making some progress on a lot of park issues that we have stacked up, ready for them to take a look at. And some of those things that we'll look at, obviously Parks and Recreation Master Plan, recreation needs assessments coming to an end, and then we'll have park rules and stuff like that. So we're going to get those items before the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. So next Wednesday is the first meeting for that. I was expecting to have to be back in Kansas for some business next week. However, that has changed, and I do not have to go back. So I will be here working diligently to get information ready for next Saturday, which will be our strategic retreat. So getting a lot of information ready to go for that. We'll have some information to talk about public polling and stuff like that. I've sent you guys some emails on the proposal that I selected for that project. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have regarding that project. And lastly, without diving real deep into the details, I would just like to take a moment to thank our police department. It's been a rough couple of weeks for them. They've had a lot going on. There's been a lot of challenges and just a lot of probably the more unfortunate realities of that job. And so I just want to publicly thank our police department for everything that they've been working through here these past couple of weeks. Mr. Mayor, that's all I've got.
Great, thank you. All right, City Attorney.
Thank you for your confidence in me and appointing me as an interim city attorney. I'm honored to serve you. Our charter says that the city attorney is solely responsible to the council. So if anyone has questions or direction that you want to provide to me, feel free to reach out anytime. My cell phone is on my signature line. I think if you all don't have my number, you should. So feel free to reach out anytime with questions. I think not just from a changing of the person standpoint, as Scott Krob has been an excellent attorney, but from the organizational standpoint, I think that this change, having an in-house attorney, will help the city move forward in the way that we can provide, and I can help provide directional legal advice that is not just looking at the city from the outside, but from the inside, but on behalf of the city council and steering it in a direction. And I do enjoy working with our city manager. I think that's well known, on behalf of the city council, advising him and other department directors in steering the city council or city in a direction, and looking forward to more direction as the rest of this month unfolds. So thank you again.
All right. Next item, council discussion. As mentioned earlier, I will be meeting with Drew on Thursday afternoon to discuss a contract with him, and hopefully we'll come to an agreement that afternoon. I know I spoke to each one of you about that and got your thoughts and opinions on that negotiations going forward. I also wanted to bring up the fact that I'm sure you all saw that there was an email sent from Scott regarding possible retention as a water attorney. And looking at our charter and our code, I think it's 4.9 off the top of my head, it talks about the relationship between council, the city attorney, and how contract attorneys are handled. And it basically says in there, at the discretion of the city attorney, that if we need to bring in outside counsel for like a specialty, that should be vetted through the city attorney and then brought to council. So I know there was some discussion about possibly bringing him on as a water attorney. I would like to personally table that for a while until we have a contract in place with him, determines what he needs, what we might need in the future. I just don't want to arbitrarily sign a contract and we may not use it for a while. And if staff or he believes that, hey, we might have a better option for a water attorney to go forward, if we need one, then at that time we can look and take a look at, any RFPs or RFQs from outside agencies to decide, or have him select somebody and bring it for us for consideration. So wanted to get your thoughts on that. Are you guys good with that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I love RFPs.
And like I said, and it's nothing against Scott, and if he's listening, you know, Scott, I've really appreciate all the years of work that you've brought to the city and everything that you've given this council and the city. I really do appreciate it. You know, this is not personal by any means. This is strictly a business decision. That's in the best for the best of this organization going forward. So, you know,
I just want to add that I think, you know, Scott does have that extensive water knowledge. So in the future, if we were to need him, I hope that we do entertain that relationship, just because, you know, especially with NISP coming up and what that's going to look like. Granted, that's years ahead of us, but thoughts on that?
yeah, I mean, that's something we can definitely take a look at when we get there. Absolutely. So. And then, of course, you know, as Cody mentioned, don't forget Monday and then next Saturday as well for our.
Can you repeat those dates? Because there was something about a meeting on Monday.
Sure, yes, we have a special meeting on Monday at 6 p.m.
I'm not aware of that. That's why I was
Okay,
like,
and then, of
Monday,
course, our strategic retreat on Saturday,
the 25th?
the 18th.
That changed.
Is Monday here too?
What's that? Monday's here.
Monday here,
Yep,
too.
Monday's here as well. And then strategic retreat, Riverside Library,
So
The
1:13.
At what time?
9 o'clock.
That one I didn't have,
Okay.
but I think my phone didn't save it. 9 a.m.
Yes,
at the library.
yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Me too.
We can either look at Riverside Library, or we could look at the activity room here. There's quite a bit of room in the activity room, assuming it's available, but if you'd rather go to Riverside, we can do that as well.
We can get it here and that's available. Just do it here.
Okay,
Either.
I'll look into it and I'll let you know, and
If not,
we'll get the message out.
fine. Anything else for council discussion?
I'm sorry, I just want to clarify, to be determined for the strategic meeting? Or
Yeah.
it's to be
It's
TBD?
9 o'clock. It's either going to be in the activities room or at Riverside Library.
And that's on the 18th.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
go
would
ahead.
like to discuss with council, nothing incredibly urgent, but probably like in the first quarter of 2025. When we updated the model traffic code, I don't remember, maybe a couple months ago, there were two sections in that had restrictions on people parking on what you would consider typically is like the lawn or the larger portion of the front yard. And then also there was a restriction there which restricted the use of vehicles for living for more than 7 days per year. And that applied to any vehicles or trailers. And with the adoption of the RV code and then the changes we made to the model traffic code, I believe those two sections are missing, which leaves the city open a little bit to either folks parking vehicles entirely across their front yard, or if it was a vehicle that doesn't apply to our RV code, such as like a van or even like a school bus, which is common for people to buy anymore. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and it'll be something, of course, for our staff and our attorney to review, but that that folks would be able to basically park those vehicles. They could even just park it on their front lawn, plug it in, camp it in, and it would be exempt from our rules that we passed applying to RVs. So those are two small examples, but I think that could be incorporated into really just a separate project. And really, I think what I'm looking for is maybe a work session with code enforcement and planning staff to review what is working, what isn't working with the nuisance code, and also some things that could be updated with that. I know there's some stuff in there for sale vehicles and stuff, which probably was from the days of pre-internet, stuff like that, which
Right.
might not be updated. So it's like I said, nothing urgent too, and it will be something, of course, we'll want our attorney to review. So it could certainly be once that's in place as well. But I just want to start the discussion on that and see if anyone had any thoughts on that.
Anybody good with that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Put that on a future. Yep. Work session agenda. All right, there you go. All right. Anything else?
I just wanted kind of to give some brief thoughts. Congratulations. I will just kind of mention some of my reservations, just a little bit, in the sense of I just want to ensure that Evans, is safeguarded, and Evans is we sure that there's a balance in power as we move forward. Just because in the past, there's been instances where that wasn't the case. There was definitely a shift in balance in the wrong areas. And so I just want to make sure as we move forward that we have Evans in mind and at the heart of every decision. That is all.
Great, thank you.
Well, I would like to welcome Drew on board as interim attorney. That was our intention, I think, of council originally when we set up an assistant attorney that he would eventually, hopefully, become a full-blown city attorney. And Scott could do his retirement thing. I am a little disappointed that I had hoped that he would hang around until the end of my term, but I understand. And I definitely think that Drew has grown in his capacity to lead the city as the city attorney, and I appreciate that. And that was our intention when we set up this system about, 5 years ago.
Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to say that every time I interact with staff and every time I talk to anybody on council, I think we keep Evans at the heart of our intention. So just wanted to make that clear.
All right, sounds good. All right, if there's nothing else, we'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting. All right, thank you, everybody.